Alright, I'm ready to start sewing my zipper in my bag. I want to talk a little bit about threads and needles before I begin because that always makes a difference in your project too. I'm using Superior's titanium coated needles for this project. I love to use these in bags and purses because they're really sharp and really strong, and I've got enough strength to my needle to really penetrate all the layers. I'm going to use a size 80 on this project because I'm using So Fine for stitching this project. This So Fine is a 50 weight polyester thread. I love it because it's very smooth, it doesn't have any lint, it's strong and sturdy, and it just works really well, and it's not a real heavy thread, so it doesn't show up a whole lot. The other thread that I like to use when I'm doing bags and purses a lot is King Tut. And King Tut is a much heavier thread. It's a 40 weight thread. It's 3-ply. It's 100% cotton. If I'm going to assemble my project using King Tut, I'll want to use a size 90 needle. But in this instance, since I'm using So Fine, I'll leave in my size 80 needle. These needles are also top stitch needles, which means that the eye on them is elongated and twice as big as a normal eye, which makes it really easy to thread. It also prevents your thread from fraying and breaking when you're sewing with it. So that's my needle of choice. To sew on my zipper, I need to use a zipper foot. And whoops. This is the zipper foot that comes with my machine. You put it on and you have to move your needle to one position or the other. So depending on which side of the zipper I'm sewing on, I move it to the left or the right. I'll put it on my machine, and then it's really important, don't forget to move your needle over or you're going to end up breaking that brand new needle that you just put in. Also make sure that you've got your regular throat plate on. I oftentimes will use a single stitch throat plate when I'm stitching piecing and things, but that has the hole only big enough for my needle to go down, which actually is exactly what I have on my machine right now, so I'm going to switch it out really quick. It's really frustrating to put a brand new needle in and break it before you even get started because you've got the wrong throat plate on. So just to show you the difference, this is the single stitch throat plate with just the single hole. This is my regular throat plate that has the much wider hole, so I can move my needle position and there's a hole still for it to go down. Okay, we've got the throat plate changed, and now my needle can go in and out of that hole without any trouble. I'm going to bring my bobbin thread up. And I'm ready to sew. Now on this one, I want to sew along my fold edge of my fabric, so I do want to have my needle in the left position. So I'm going to put my needle down. I'm going to turn my light on here, see if that helps. Gives you a little bit better light. This is my little handy bendable bright light. I can move it wherever I want and have good light right where I'm stitching. The other tool that I love to use when I'm doing this is my stiletto, because I can use it to hold the fabric in place and it's not going to move as I stitch. So I'm just going to start stitching. I see I've still got my feed dogs down, so bring those back up. I'm going to use a stitch length of about 2.5, and I'll just stitch all the way down this piece. You can see I'm about 1/8 of an inch from the fold line on my fabric, and my fabric is about 1/8 of an inch from the edge of the zipper. And I'll back stitch just a little bit at that end to hold that securely. Okay, now I've got my zipper sewn in between both of my flap A pieces, but I want to bring this end of the zipper down this side. So to do that, I'm going to pull my zipper open part way, and then I'm just going to turn this and fold it back right along that edge and stitch that together. So I'll do one side at a time. Now on this one I've got to move my zipper over to the right side, my zipper needle, or my needle, and I'll just start down here, come up to the point, and then I usually go in reverse all the way back down that piece again. So there I've got one side stitched down. Now let me do the other side. So again, fold it underneath. You can see on the back I've just got a little bit of a fold in there. I've got it folded along the edge. Just sew to the end. Pull that out, clip my threads. I want to clip threads on each end. And then I can just cut my zipper off even with my fabric. And I've got a nice zipper that ends at the end and doesn't come undone.